Yeah, thank you. Shri Bhartruhari Mahtab ji.
Thank you, Chairman, sir. I intended to speak the portion that I am going to say now at the end, but I think I should start my speech congratulating Minister of Railways by saying that he has created history in the sense he has been elected from Odisha during last 75 years of our independence. He is the first member elected from Odisha who is heading Ministry of Railways. Odisha is his karmasthal, as he always says, and he knows very well that nook and corner of Odisha and why Odisha had been neglected relating to development of railway infrastructure. There is some legacy which needs to be corrected now, and that is being done. Recently, in one of the magazines that have been produced, that has been printed in Odisha, said when the rail budget was being deliberated here, when the finance minister placed the rail budget, his budget, her budget, that time, and after a week or so, the rail minister also went around Odisha to different parts of the state. And he announced that these are the provisions which has been provided for the first time. I have participated in rail budget deliberation for last 23 years. Many a time I always ponder that a train line in Balasore district to Nilgiri will never commence again. But the day he travelled along with the local member of parliament to Nilgiri, then I became aware that yes, things are feasible, things are achievable under his leadership. He also went to the southern part of our state, which has been totally neglected for last so many years. No infrastructure, but that is the most revenue earning area for the railways. And there he has announced what steps are going to be taken. Out of 30 districts of Odisha, still more than 6 districts are yet to see a rail line. I think in future, plan and program, all those 6 districts also will be covered. I remember in the early 80s, he was a minister here. When he contested, when he went back to contest election again after 1977 debacle in 1980, he said, the slogan was there, this time Phulwani will definitely have a rail line. I'm not repeating his name, but that became a slogan that Kwadegola, where did the rail line go? Now that rail line is being constructed. Of course, it is in a very slow pace. Now it needs to be speeded up. There is some issues relating to acquisition of land. And because of the new Land Acquisition Act, certain things are getting held up. But I believe that all those things can be sorted out. My humble suggestion would be, yes, now we have a double engine. I was mentioning of that news report in that magazine where now I believe in railways we have a double engine for the development of our state. Sir, Indian Railway is some say it is the 3rd largest, some say it is the 4th largest network in the world under single management, and with over 68,102 route kilometers. Indian Railways strives to provide safe, efficient, competitive, and world-class transport system. As average of 1,835 track kilometer per year of new track length has been added through new line and multi-tracking projects during 2014 to 2021 as compared to the average of 720 track kilometers per day during 2009 to 2014. There has been improvement. Today, Indian Railways is also adopting indigenous new technology such as Kavach, Vande Bharat trains and redevelopment of stations to have safe and better journey experience. During financial year 21, Indian Railways carried 1.223 billion tons of freight and 1.25 billion passengers. With continuing focus on safety of passengers, the number of consequential train accidents has come down from 59 in 2018 to 19 to 55 in 2019 to 20 pre-COVID, and further to 22 in 2020-2021. Of course, during 2020-2021, there has been less movement of trains, so accidents number also has come down. Therefore, I have given pre-COVID statistics. And these are certain figures which actually determines the functioning of railways. In order to strengthen agriculture sector, and this is something unique, as on 31st December 2021, Indian Railways has operated 1,841 Kisan Rail services, transporting approximately 6 lakh tons of perishable, including fruits and vegetables. With the government giving extra thrust on PM Gati Shakti, the Indian Railway is set to see its highest ever capital expenditure of rupees 2.45 trillion rupees for 2022-23, which is up by 14% from the revised estimate of 2.15 trillion for the current financial year. This has resulted in operating ratio, a key metric to assess the railway's financial health, coming from pressure. Minister Railway has stated recently that he is targeting 96.98% operating ratio in the coming year. Leader of the Congress party, Adhir Bhai, was also in railway minister. He understands very well relating to the operating ratio mechanism. I happen to be also, was also chairman of a railway committee which was determining how much money has to be given to the finance ministry. Convention committee. Yes, thank you. This operating ratio was always a point of discussion with the railways, with the finance during that period of time. Of course, now we have only one budget, but operating ratio actually determines the health of the railways. So when you are targeting to bring it down to 96.98% in the coming year, that is something praiseworthy. Roughly, this means the railway aims to spend 96.98 rupees for every 100 rupee it earns in financial 23. But I am sure the House is aware that the operating ratio of the Indian Railway has worsened to 98.93% in the revised estimate for financial year 22. This is lower than 96.15% operating ratio it had budgeted for that year. Finance Minister, while presenting the budget, had underlined Indian Railways would play a critical role as one of the 7 engines of PM Gati Shakti master plan. and I quote her, a transformative approach for economic growth and sustainable development. What does this transformative approach mean? Bringing in PPP mode, which is already there, providing rail lines to private players, as it has already been given to it at some specific areas. This needs to be spelled out. The other 6 engines are roads, airports, ports, mass transportation, waterways, and logistic infrastructure. We'll be deliberating on ports, waterways, roads, perhaps tomorrow. And the Indian Railway is ready to go full steam to restore passenger traffic to pre-pandemic levels. In terms of revenue projections, the railway had expected to rake up 61,000 crores of rupees from passenger traffic alone. Under revised estimate, the projection is now to accumulate rupees 44,375 crore for financial year 22. In financial year 23, it intends to mop up rupees 58,500 crore towards passenger revenue. This is 2,500 crore lower than the revised estimate. Minister Railway had said this budget as historic, as it provided unprecedented support to the railways, in which capital support was of rupees 1,37,300 crores. I believe this is something which is praiseworthy. During the past 3 years, the budget estimate are continuously being lowered at the revised estimate stage, while the actual expenditure nowhere even matches with the reduced RE levels. Thus, the financial performance of the railways during the past 3 consecutive years reveal that even the reduced allocation at the revised estimate stage could not be fully utilized. And this is the disease of railway which has been suffering for last many years. That allocation is there, budget provision is there, revised estimate is also lowered, but ultimately the expenditure is not up to that mark. Over the past years, there has been a steady decline in the generation of internal resources by the railways, which has shifted upon greater dependency on market borrowings, which is going to have a cascading effect in long term. Repeatedly, we have stated this in our reports earlier, that railways should generate its own revenue. But now you are more dependent on not on internal resources, but from outside resources. And I believe these 2 basic aspects has been under your consideration, and I believe under your leadership it will get a proper attention. Every year, the plan size of railway is increasing radically, but they are not able to utilize it. Resultantly, there has been a huge throw forward of railway projects. Therefore, railways should adhere to the structural reforms which have been initiated during the previous years to utilize the maximum allocation for projected expansion, upgradation, and modernizations of railway network. Sir, coming to Odisha, I should say, as I had stated earlier, we have received the maximum budgetary support this year. It needs to be spent. And
please conclude.
2-3 points. I'll just take 2-3 minutes. Recently, I came across a news, sir, that a specific geographical area of a province is being determined as a zone. If that is, I have nothing against it. Odisha has nothing against it. If a specific province or a specific state is being demarcated for a specific zone, new zone, we have nothing against it. But Odisha's rail track are divided into 3 zones. One is East Coast zone, headquarters is stationed in Bhubaneswar. A large part of northern part of Odisha is with the southeastern zone. Another part of also is in another zone. So let us, if the government is deciding on provincial boundaries to create a zone, if that is the policy now, earlier it was not. If that is the policy now, then why not demarcate all the rail track of that specific state under one zone and accordingly have new divisions? There has been a long pending demand. Our Chief Minister, Mr. Naveen Patnaik, has been writing repeatedly to the Prime Minister that Jharsuguda should be declared as a zone, as a division. Rayagada has been declared as a division, but we need another division in Jajpur Road because now the activity of that area has increased exponentially. Today, I would say that those historically that was denied to Odisha needs to be corrected. And I would say, sir, and lastly, I would also mention there are a number of other things which needs to be also attended to, especially the Sikh community of Odisha. They travel to Amritsar. The Shia community people of Odisha, they also travel to Amritsar because of that place near Amritsar where the festival, they are pilgrims. And I believe the representatives of in and around Cuttack and other districts of Kendrapada and Jagatsinghpur, they have also approached the minister that the train that actually comes up to Delhi needs to be extended up to Amritsar and it should start from Cuttack railway station. This is the basic interest that I have for my constituency. Cuttack has already completed more than 123 years of its existence. It started in 1901. The Cuttack railway station was established in 1901. Land is also available there. We need a turnaround for any train to start from Cuttack. There is a need to turn around. During my, when I first came in my second term, when Mr. Nitish Kumar was Minister for Railways, I had approached him. We had only one track which was passing through railways. And during that period, of course, the present railway minister was also our district magistrate of Cuttack during that time. That time, the second bridge of Mahanadi of Birupa and subsequently the Kathajodi and Kuakhai, these four bridges were started during that period. Now there is a need because of the increased traffic in that route. There is a need to have third bridge, third line, which has come up to Barang from Bhubaneswar side, and from others from the Howrah side, the third line also has come up to Jajpur Road, but it needs to be extended. These are the major work which needs to be done in Odisha. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.